many books did you read this month? And which book was your favorite that you read this month? Leave a comment down below. This video is all about all of the books that I read in the month of August with no spoilers. I'm just gonna tell you what the books are about and what I rated them. So the first book that I read this month was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Where do I begin? Basically, this book is about this girl named Lily Blossom Bloom. So Lily just moved to Boston. She's trying to like restart her life. She graduated from college and then she moved to Boston. She has goals and dreams of starting her own business, and that she does. She opens up a flower shop and it's all cute and all that kind of stuff. The way this book starts out is with her on a rooftop just like trying to get some fresh air, and she meets this guy named Ryle Kincaid. Ryle goes onto the rooftop like mad, like throwing chairs, kicking chairs, and just like obviously like really angry, mad. And she was just kind of standing there like should I let him know that I can like see all of this? The reason why he was aggressive was because, you know what, you just need to read the book to find that part out. Anyway, he was mad and aggressive right away. And so anyway, long story short, she meets Ryle. They don't even like exchange phone numbers or anything. They just like met, and then like months go by. She has this like long lost love that she had when she was in high school with this other guy named Atlas. She uses Lily's journal entries. They're like letters to Ellen DeGeneres. Dear Ellen, this is what happened today. This is what happened at high school. This is what happened with my family. And basically that's how we get introduced to Atlas, by her letters to Ellen. And that's really creative and like really cool, I think. It's like a dual timeline kind of book, so it goes back in time and like it helps us learn who she was growing up and help us meet Atlas. And then it jumps to like the present day. I gave this book 3 stars. First of all, do your research and look up the trigger warnings for this book. I don't like how we didn't see any of those trigger things coming. Like it just happened. And it was like such like a bad thing. I don't know, I'm not even gonna say too much about it, but look up the trigger warnings and make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. The crazy thing is, I was very captivated by the story like the first 50 to 60% of the book. It's just like a story of like her going back in time, but then like she does have a terrible upbringing, so that was kind of like, but then all of a sudden it takes a turn and it became like so freaking toxic that I was just very like off put. Like I was like, it's a no for me. So anyway, this was also like a reread. I read this book like 2 years ago, but I reread it because the movie came out like a few weeks ago. So I really wanted to go see the movie and I wanted to like read the book first before seeing the movie because I didn't really remember what it was about. Now I know what it's about, okay? Moving on. Then I read Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. This was a debut novel for her, and this was also a new release. This book just came out in like June or July, like very recently. Like, it was very much just like a summer read, Curvy Girl Summer. This was the book that my book club picked, so if you are interested in joining the book club, then go join the book club. Like, yeah, it's a vibe over there. It's basically about this girl named Aaliyah. She's about to turn 30 years old, but before she turns 30, she really wants to have like a guy or a boyfriend to ring in her 30th birthday. She doesn't want to ring in her 30th birthday alone, you know? So like her whole plan this summer, she has like 8 weeks to like find and capture a man for her birthday, but also just like to have a guy to date because she's about to turn 30 and she's single, right? Her family is very like, what's the word? Like they just interject themselves into her lives and like they're very opinionated. Like, girl, you're 30 years old, you need to have a man. Like, where's your man? Where's your man? Her uncle, I did not like her uncle at all. But anyway, she didn't like him either, really. She's also a thick woman. Curvy girl. She's actually like thick, you know? She's a big girl, but she's a fashionista and she's like really pretty. So like every time she goes out, she like turns heads, but like, oh, she's curvy, she's big, whatever. She's a little thick, okay? So whenever she goes on dates with these guys, they say all kind of crazy stuff to her like, you know what? I really like a fat woman. That means you know how to cook. Man, I really wanted a big woman. That means you're this. They will go and say all these crazy like big woman stereotypes, and she'll just be like, yeah, that's not me. Yeah, that's a no for me. And like also I love how she was using dating apps, and so it's like very, very modern with like, you know, trying to meet people on this dating app and then go and meet them in person. But like the crazy thing is, she would have her designated spot of where she would meet these guys. She picked this bar called the Onyx Bar, and every time I read that bar, I think about like Rebecca Yarrow's new book Onyx that's coming out. But anyway, she goes to the Onyx Bar, and when she goes to this bar is like right across the street from her apartment, and so it's easy, it's convenient, and she trusts like that location. She feels safe. When she goes there for the first time, she meets this bartender named Ahmad. And Ahmad, Ahmad. He's a local bartender. He like consoles her when she goes on his first date at that bar, and then like the date goes wrong. He kind of like makes her laugh. He's like a jokester. He's very funny, whatever. They have this like great humor together. Like they really have this vibe like from the start. But like she's going there to bring her dates there. So like every time she brings a date, Ahmad's there, and like they made an agreement to where like Ahmad was gonna like have her back while she's on these dates, just in case. Like, and I'm like, that's a really good thing. Like he's like the buffer guy. Like if anything goes wrong, he will escort them out of the bar. Like if anything happened, he will be there to like support her, all this kind of stuff. He was the one that suggested using the dating app along with her friends, but like her friend said it and then he said it too, and she was like, you know, maybe I should try the dating app. And so she tried the dating app, and like I love how it takes you on every single date she went on, like what happened, what he said, what she said. Girl, if you've ever been on terrible dates with a dating app, raise your hand. It's terrible. Like, oh my god, her first 2 dates, I'm not even gonna like spoil that for you, I want you to read it, but like people be on there lying. People be on there like catfishing, like putting up photos of how they looked 20 years ago. And it's like, you don't even look anything like that. At least like, girl, I don't know. And then these guys will come up and be like, oh, you actually look like your picture. It's like, well, what did you expect? You don't look like yours. Anyway, so basically it's taking us on a journey of her swiping and trying to meet guys so that she can have a date for her 30th birthday. Who will she end up dating by the end of this book? Does she ring in her 30th birthday alone? Does she end up dating anybody actually? All the questions, right? It was a great book club book. It was a great read. I actually like really enjoyed it, so that was really cool. She turned this into a series now, so now there's gonna be a second book, but that wasn't the plan when I first got the book. When I first got the book, it was just like this was the only book, and then when I went back and saw it, I was like, oh, this is book one of a series. So I'm like, look at her. I'm very proud of her. Good for you, Danielle Allen. Then I read this book. Girl, you know, I don't know. I love how fast-paced her books are. Like, once you start reading, you're gonna finish the book. Like, it's just done, you know? And I love how short her chapters are. Anyway, let's talk about this book. This is the second book of the Housemaid series. There are 3 books in this series. Like, I didn't know if it was gonna be a continuation of her story, if it was gonna go back. Like, I didn't know what was gonna come next, you know? Like, I didn't know what was gonna happen next. I just knew that she had another book, so like, I picked it up. The Housemaid's Secret. Then you gotta wonder, like, what is her secret? Girl, I don't know. But basically, this is a continuation of the first book. This is her life after that book, is all I'll say. But the storyline is a little different. There are some other things happening in this book. And if you read the first book, then you already know that, like, don't play with Millie. Don't mess with her, okay? I can't really say much about this book because it's a series. So, like, if you haven't read the first book, go read the first book. Like, I'm telling you, you are not gonna be disappointed. But don't stop reading until you get past like part 2. That's when everything like, that's when it like hits you and you don't even see it coming. You don't even know, girl. You don't even know. I give this book 5 stars. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, with Curvy Girl Summer, I give that book 4.5 stars. There are some things in Curvy Girl Summer that I did not like. I forgot to even mention that. Like the spicy scenes, it was just like way too spicy for me. Like some people like spicy books. I am not one of those people, man. I'm like, ew, I do not want to read all that detail, you know? Like it's cool, but like I didn't want to read that. And like that's literally the first chapter. And then it happens again. And like, you know, I don't know. And just, yeah. So I did not like the spiciness in that book. This book, on the other hand, 5 stars, because all the way up into the very last sentence, which is what Freedom McFadden is really good at doing, all the way up to the last sentence, I had no idea, like really, like I thought I knew until I didn't know, girl. If you've read this book, leave a comment down below. Let me know, did you like this one? Which one was your favorite, the first or second book? It's the people you least expect to be doing some messed up crazy stuff, girl. People out here are crazy. Yeah, people are crazy. Then I did a 24-hour reading challenge because, you know, low-key I like staying up late at night, and this is just my excuse to stay up late at night. So the first book that I finished in that video was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Oh my god, I gave that book 5 stars because I read through that book so fast naturally. Even if I wouldn't have been doing a 24-hour reading challenge, I feel like I would have gotten through it quickly because like you want to know what happens. Let me tell you what it's about actually. So basically it's about this girl named Emma Blair. It takes you like along the journey of her meeting her high school sweetheart, them falling in love, them like going and getting married, and like now she's married 1 year after they got married. So on her 1-year anniversary, Jesse's job is like a production assistant. He's on like a nature documentary, whatever. So he goes to Alaska, and while he's on the job, his helicopter goes missing. Jesse goes missing in action, right? And just like that, Jessie is gone. Her high school sweetheart. It takes you through Emma's grief on like how she grieved her husband. It takes you on like her taking steps to like move on and move past it. Years go by, like years later, she meets the guy who she used to know in her childhood. His name was Sam. She knew Sam because they all went to the same high school, whatever. So like she runs into Sam again. And then like it's like instant attraction. He helps her like, I don't know, I don't want to say get over her loss, but like he's the first guy that she like actually like entertained since Jesse died. Long story short, they end up getting engaged. And like right when they get engaged, guess who comes back to the world? Jesse. Turns out Jesse actually survived. And like it takes you on long on like how he survived and like that trauma, that PTSD, like all of that comes with that, like that. Yeah. Girl, now she has a fiance and her husband is back. This girl is married and engaged at the same time. Obviously, she needs to pick one of these guys. Like, what is she gonna do? Like, you cannot just be like with two guys. Like, this is not like, no, we're not doing that. Like, you know? So the question is, who is her true love? What does she do? How does she, like, what? Like, girl, it's so good. They even turned this book into a movie, I believe. I saw that Emma, the girl, the main character, is like Eliza from the Hamilton Broadway show. The girl who played Eliza, she's Emma. And like low-key, I want to watch it just because I like her and like she's a great singer. Anyway, 5 stars, 5 stars. The other book I read during the 24-hour reading challenge was this one, The Teacher by Frida McFadden. My second Frida McFadden book of the year and my second mystery thriller book of the year. I only read 2, girl, that's crazy. That's like low-key embarrassing, but I'm gonna read more because like spooky season is coming. Anyway, so The Teacher is about this teacher named Eve. Eve seemingly has a perfect life as always. Like that's always like the norm for Frida McFadden. Like everything is perfect until dun 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 whatever. So anyway, at her school where she teaches at, Kasem High, there was a scandal that happened with a student named Addie last year. This year, that girl Addie is in Eve's class. And so like, girl, Addie cannot be trusted. She lies to people. She hurts people. Like she is a part of a whole huge school scandal. We already are like skeptical about her, but this girl is in this teacher's class. But nobody actually knows the real Addie. Like that's the thing, like nobody really knows her. But then Eve discovers some shocking truth about Addie. And once Eve discovers the shocking truth, Addie would do anything to keep Eve quiet. But it's like anything like what? Like what are you talking about? Like what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? So like that's basically like what the story is about. I gave this book 3 stars. Honestly, like this book was so slow compared to Frida McFadden's other books. Like it goes against everything I just said about like how her books are like so fast paced. Like I was like, why? Like this is just so slow. It was too slow and it was so cringe. That was gross. It was just a very cringy book. I felt sick to my stomach when I was reading it. If you've seen that 24-hour reading vlog, you already know, like, yeah. So I gave it 3 stars because first of all, it was very slow, very slow. And then when it hit, it was like cringy, like, ew. I just wasted all this time reading this just to find out that. Girl, no. So like, that's a no. 3 stars it is. Then I started reading this book, Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Y'all. So basically, let me tell you what it's about. So Bree is a 16-year-old girl. Her mother just died, right? So when her mom died, she decides to go to this like residential high school program for like really smart people called UNC, whatever. That's exactly where her mom went. So she goes to UNC and like her first night, like not the second one, not a week later, her first night there, she witnesses like a demon attack. Like this demon starts sucking the energy out of these humans and she just like witnesses that. Then there's these like people called like a Merlin. The Merlin grabs her and basically tries to wipe her memory of what she saw that night. But girl, it didn't work, okay? There's like a secret society at UNC called Legendborns. And basically, this Legendborn secret society hunts down these demons. Anyway, the Merlin is part of the secret society. He tries to wipe Bree's memory of what she thought she saw, which she actually did see. You know what I'm saying? This thing failed to wipe her memory. That's when Bree realized, like, oh my god, like I'm like special. Like I remember everything that happened. I saw these demons. I know I'm not making that up. Like then she also had like a memory like, wait, I feel like this happened before. Like I feel like I've seen you before. And then she remembers like the night her mom died, a freaking Merlin was at the hospital when her mom died too. So wait. This means that there's probably more to my mother's death then we knew it wasn't just some like accident, right? So anyway, now that Bree knows that this Merlin was at the hospital the night her mom died, she feels like there's more to her mother's death. So now naturally she must go on this journey to figure out what the heck actually happened to her mother. So the way to do that, she's like, let me like infiltrate and let me become part of this Legendborn secret society and like find out as much as I can about my mother's death. While she's trying to join this society, she recruits this guy named Nick, who was part of this Legendborn secret society, but he exiled himself. He exited himself out of this secret society. You gotta wonder, like, why? Like, what? It is so good. It is so good. Anyway, he has his own grudge against the group, his own reasons for why he like quit being a Legendborn or whatever. So anyway, he was reluctant to like go back and rejoin, but like he wants to help Bree out. So like he, you know, he's a nice guy. So he goes back and oh, girl, it is so freaking good. They grow closer to each other. They start learning more about the secret society and each other. This is all according to the synopsis, right? No spoilers. So when Bree infiltrates the Legendborn secret society, she finds out that they are, like, some of them are descendants of King Arthur. And so they're King Arthur's knights. And they explain that a magical war is coming. And these people in this part of the secret society, they're supposed to like fight in this magical war that is coming and brewing. So Bree has to decide, since she's basically a part of the secret society, what is she gonna do? Because she had one agenda. Like her whole reason for joining was to find out about her mom. But now she's finding out that there's a war coming. So like, what does she do? What does she choose to do? It's like she's trying to figure out how far she's willing to go and what she's willing to do. Will she use her newfound magic to bring the society down because of what they did to her mother? Or does she join the war? Does she join the fight? I guess you gotta read to find out. I guess you gotta read to find out. Yo, this book was so good. 5 stars. And I think actually this was my favorite book of the month that I read. In all of August, this was my favorite book of the month. I have like a reading journal spread where I'm like tallying like which book was my favorite book of the month, and then like, yeah. So like that definitely was all, like, out of all these books that I read, that book topped the charts. Like Tracy Dion did a great job. And there's a second book, and I believe there's a third book coming out. So I'm excited. I haven't seen many people talk about this book, but it's really good. And like as a Black woman, obviously this is about a brown girl based on the cover. And like, I just love that you learn about like her roots growing up. I've never read a fantasy book where like the Black girl's the main character and like everybody in this secret society, well, majority of the people in the secret society are like white, blue eyes, all this kind of stuff. And she's like one of the only brown people there. It goes to that dynamic, her having curly hair and just like, ugh, like that. It was so relatable as a brown skinned girl. And it was so freaking good. Like for anybody, the storyline, the action, the romance, the everything. There are so many unexpected things. And I still don't know what's gonna happen. I still don't know. Like the way it ended literally makes you want to go run to the bookstore and pick up the next one immediately, like because it ends on like a this will definitely be continued type of thing. Girl, it was so freaking good. So good. I feel like literally like rereading it again because I want to reread it again. Like I don't know. And if you've made it to this point of the video, please comment down a heart emoji. I love when you guys like actually like do that because I see you and you see me. I see you see me and I see you. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the last book that I read because this is about to end on a sour note because this is not about to be a happy ending, okay? No. So I ended up DNFing a book, okay? Because, you know, I had to because I'm not in the business of being bored. I don't know. I just don't like being bored, so. I think I need to give it another chance, but I'm just so over it. Like, I think it's because I just finished reading Legendborn and it was so like action-packed and like fast. And then I started reading this book. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Her debut novel as well. It immediately slowed down. Like, it's about this old lady, which is fine. Like, I'm not like age biased or whatever. Like, you don't have to be a 16-year-old girl discovering you have magic and going to this like residential high school program. You don't have to be like that, you know? It's still gonna be a good book. But like, it was just so slow. Like, I don't think it's boring actually. Like, I think like it's entertaining, but it's just so slow. And I've learned about myself that I just like faster paced books. I like things to be action packed. I think it's gonna be a good book. I literally stopped reading. My bookmark is still in the book. I DNF'd at page 142. do. Like I'm 142 pages in and I'm still like nothing has happened. Like it's just a slow build up to what? Like, but one thing that is unique about this book is like there are multiple perspectives for different people. There's like an octopus, Marcellus, there's Tova, the old lady, and then there's Cameron. I cannot figure out who the heck he is, but he has a perspective in the book too. And that's another thing while I'm a note, I'm like, who is this guy? Like, you know, I know based on the synopsis, it talks a lot about Tova and Marcellus, like this octopus and this old lady who works at this aquarium that basically cleans the aquarium, okay? But who is Cameron? Like, they never talk about this guy on the synopsis. So I'm like, who the heck is that? And like, why should I care, you know? But anyway, Tova has a really sad, depressing life. Like her husband died, her son died. Like her son, it seems like her son died in like a weird, messed up way. Like he was only 18 when he died. It says he mysteriously vanished on a boat over 30 years ago. So anyway, he died 30 years ago on this boat. And according to the synopsis, it's like Marcellus actually like knows the truth. Like he's starting to realize he knows what happens to her son. But obviously this is like an octopus and a lady. So like they can't just like talk, you know? It's like, it's not one of those kind of books. So it's a slow book. It's a slow burn. Like that's why I'm like, I know it's gonna be good. I know. But I think I just finished reading some faster paced books. And I just was not ready to slow down. Which is why I ended up DNFing the book at 142 pages in. I'm like, surely over the 100 mark, it should have started picking up more by now, but like, girl, no. Like, you know what I tend to do? I tend to stop reading like one chapter before it picks up. I'm betting I'm like 10 pages away from like the whole like build up, but like, I'm basically almost halfway through this book and I'm just like, bored. Very bored. Have you guys read this book? Leave a comment down below. Did you think it was boring? Did you think it was like good? Like, what are your thoughts? I mean, clearly it's a good read. This book was like a Goodreads Choice nominee for several categories, like debut novel and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know, girl, I don't know. It could be several reasons, but like that's what's happening. So I think I might pick it back up just like way later. Like I just don't feel like reading anything that's slow right now. Like I'm just like, no, I'm ready to like get things going. In fact, I feel like reading like a bunch of like fall fantasy books because like it's getting to be fall soon and that's the vibe that I'm rolling with right now. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Leave a comment down below how many books did you read this month, and also join the book club if you want to be a book club girly with me and the other girls. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video next week. Bye.